Hi, guys, and welcome to the But What Do I Know podcast. This is Kevin, and I'm here with Alex.
Yo.
So, a quick description of the podcast, since this is the first episode. In this podcast, we're going to cover several topics. We're going to go from movies to music, and maybe even the expandable universe. This week's topic is a big one: social media. Today, almost everyone from ages 10 to even people like, 65 plus are on social media. Does it have more cons than pros? Alex?
Well, ultimately, I think it does have more cons. Well, it's kind of a toss-up. It's literally like 50-50 in my eyes. But we'll save that for the tail end of the podcast. For now, I wanted to bring up what I hear a lot of people say, and that is an age limit. Even though most sites, I think, already have an age limit,
Yeah,
but they're rarely ever enforced, you know?
exactly.
Like, I forget what this Facebook one is. Isn't it like 13?
I don't know, but I can tell you that I definitely made one before I was 13.
Right. I had a Facebook at I think it was like 10 years old.
Yeah, I think it was made like right around the time that we were leaving from like elementary into middle school or something like that.
Right. So, I mean, nowadays Facebook is entirely different from those days, but you know, if say like kids today book and looking at some of the stuff that I see, it could be very controversial. So, yeah, if you had to put on, let's just say one side, for example. Let's use Facebook because it's like still technically like the biggest one.
Mm-hmm.
If you had to put down an age limit, what would the age limit be in your eyes and why?
Um, Realistically, I think 17.
I think
17.
17.
Yeah, because like 17 is around the time where you're becoming, you should be or you usually are, depending on like how I forgot how it is when you start school, but around that time you're usually like a junior in high school, and I think at that point you've already like you're going to start making connections and everything like that, or you've already made connections, of course, with your friends, your family, and stuff like that. But you're going to start making more professional um, connections, and at that point, I think you're going to be like starting your first, job, or your summer job, stuff
Yeah.
like that. And that way, you'd be able to keep in touch with them, and at the same time, actually, post a meme or two, But I think we're too like at an earlier age. I feel you're going to be too exposed for half the things that we put on there as is. I mean, I don't know. How about you?
Well, I hear a lot of people, I've had this conversation with a lot of people, but they always bring up this one thing. They say, well, kids should be allowed to express themselves, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's fair. Don't think they should be expressing themselves in a site where someone who's like 40, 50 plus, maybe even an ex-con can go in and see their stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Especially if it's a public site like TikTok. So the the reason why I brought it up, well, first, I think 17 is a good age. I'm gonna say that in my opinion, I would jotted down a few numbers, maybe 15, 16,
Mm-hmm.
just because what the dangers are early on. You could sit a kid down and tell them everything that there is to know about, the dangers of posting something and it being online forever, but it's gonna go in one ear and out the other.
Gotcha.
So I
See,
feel like people always tell me that they can't express themselves. It's a form of expression, and I'm like, okay, cool, but you can also do that in other like through other mediums.
yeah, and like I feel where you're coming from with that. The only like real problem that I have with it when it's like earlier ages or just in general. Um, did you ask your parents to make a Facebook?
I did not ask anybody.
Yeah, exactly. I didn't ask either, so I just made it.
Yep, just
And
made the Facebook.
yeah, and so like immediately you're gonna be exposed to it, and that's the thing. The kids are gonna do the same thing. They don't really care about how old they have to be. Like we can say 17, 15, 16, but realistically they're gonna do it anyway.
Hmm.
And the only problem with the age limit thing, who's going to enforce it and how are they going to enforce it?
Right, 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 right. Yeah, it's not an easy ask. It's very tough to go and set rules, but mm, if at all they're enforced, they'll do like a crappy job at doing it right.
Yeah.
But the reason why I even brought up the topic about social media was because this past week I made a TikTok for the
Mm.
first time. TikTok. And I didn't even have an account yet, right? When you download the app, it'll just, it'll shoot you a few TikToks on the homepage.
Oh, really?
You don't even have to have an account. You just go in there and watch, right? So from what I saw, it was most of it is like kids. Just like younger kids, and I guess it's better now than it was before when it was musically. You remember that? When it
Yeah.
was musically?
Wait. Oh, actually, no. Wait. Musically is not its own thing.
No, 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 no. Musically is now TikTok.
Really?
Uh, yeah, yeah, yeah. You didn't know that? You don't have a TikTok, right? Or
No, I
do
don't
you?
have a TikTok. I was like completely on the Vine train.
Right, right. Well, that's the thing. So when Vine died, a lot of the people that were on Vine went elsewhere, YouTube, Twitter, and TikTok. Can't remember if Vine died before Musically changed to TikTok, but I'm pretty sure they changed because of something happened. I think it was something controversial. I'm not well versed in it, but something happened, and they had to change the name.
Okay.
But the app is great. Like it's very easy to use, and it's basically the same thing as follow, unfollow, like what Vine was now. So I never got on Musically, but I did get on TikTok, so I can't speak for Musically. But when I downloaded it, I started going through everything. It's very easy to use. It's just a swipe up or down, go through TikToks, right? So most of them were kids, and I was like, okay, I did recognize some people that were from Vine,
Mm-hmm.
and their TikToks were like, oh, funny. I laughed. I had a great time. I was laughing at their TikToks. Um, but every once in a while, I'd just get one that wasn't really funny. It was just literally like at least 15, 16, 14-year-old kids and down just posting up videos just for the fun of it. And that's cool, it's fun. Um, but what I kept thinking about was, and this is something else I'll bring up later, um, was say 10 years from now, would you regret posting those videos up?
I can tell you, as someone who used to make YouTube videos, gaming YouTube videos, period. Yes, because I was
Yeah.
not. I definitely wasn't like old enough to understand what I was doing or just know what I was talking about half the time. And like, I mean, I didn't take them down though. They're a part of me. I feel like it's just something that I grew from. Um,
Mhm.
and while I still want to go back into it and do things like that, like I use it as a learning experience, but I'm definitely embarrassed by the fact that they exist. Like
Right,
I'm not
right, right, right.
gonna deny that at all. Like definitely something I hate to look back on.
Exactly, exactly, exactly. So how do you think how do you think they'd feel with if they're in your age? But and the internet is forever.
Yeah.
Going back. So, I also wanted to bring this up. I forgot to write this down, but I wanted to bring it up to you. Think about this a lot, and it's not something that a lot of people think about a lot. So, you know how a lot of young parents are
Mm-hmm.
on social media,
Yeah.
and they're posting up, their child's everything, pictures, videos, compilation videos, everything.
Yeah.
So, say the kid grows up,
Mm-hmm.
is now 18, and well, okay, let's say before that, let's say he's in high school, let's say he's 15, 16. Any one of his classmates around the computer can go back in to the Facebook, to the archives, and have access to pictures of when you were younger. growing up, did your friends have access to pictures of when you were a baby?
No, because, like, let's be real, we had, like, picture books and things of that matter, and we hid those really well.
Right, right. So when I thought about this like a while ago, but it kind of blew my mind, dude, because I'm like, okay, if say you did somebody dirty,
Mm-hmm.
right? Had it out for you now, and they're trying every which possible way to get back at you or to harm you. They have all that at their disposal. Not exactly, straightforward because there are, privacy settings now. Not like they were before, but now their privacy settings are a bit more better, I can say. But like I said, if you know your way around a computer, easy to have access to all that, to videos, to even personal info. You know what I'm saying? Like that kind of scares me a little bit, dude. Like it honestly scares me a little bit. And then I came across examples like they don't put their babies or kids on social media at all. Like
Yeah.
if anything, they'll post up a picture from the neck down.
Yeah.
If it's a baby, you know what I'm saying? And I'm like, okay, you know, I don't think that'll be as bad. I honestly think that's a good fix. But it's something that kids growing up today will have to go through and think about that we didn't have to do, bro. Like that's what blows my mind.
And
That
you,
right there.
and you know what? Saying that actually is like, I'm not gonna lie, I didn't think about that.
I know a lot of people did it, dude. A lot of people did it, and every time I bring it up, they're like,
Yeah,
"Damn, you're right."
and that's the thing. Like, legitimately, you brought it up, and within those few like minutes that we've just talked about it and everything like that, like, legitimately just blowing my mind because of the fact, like, I've had a conversation with Athena, my fiance, for the rest of the podcast,
Right.
and like, we're getting married, so, like, at some point or another, we're gonna eventually try for kids. Let's be real about it. And I was like, yeah, I'm gonna post like pictures and everything of the baby on Facebook for people to see and stuff like that, or just to have. But of course, I was never gonna do anything like revealing. And I definitely wasn't gonna do anything like too embarrassing, but they're babies, like, they can't be embarrassed while they're babies. But as you were just saying, they're gonna get older, and people can use that against them if that's there, and that immediately becomes a problem. Because I can tell you right now, like, if someone would have gone back and found like pictures of me when I was younger, especially since I didn't like taking pictures, I hated it. I hated taking pictures. And if people would have found any of the pictures of me when I was younger, like, oh my god, I would have just wanted to die. Like, I would have been ready to fight and everything like that. And like, now, I mean, I post like the dumbest pictures online, but I'm an adult. I get to make that decision, and it doesn't embarrass me because it was me,
Yeah. I get what you're saying. And also, just to let you know, my mic stopped working, so I'm back on the speaker now. But it's cool. You can still hear me
It
though.
just stopped working. Wow, dude.
Yeah. No, it's cool. But yeah, so that's another thing. That's why I wanted to bring up people who don't use social media because
Yeah.
they do exist. For one, do you remember Juan,
Yeah.
our old buddy, old classmate? I have the hardest time getting in touch with him because he doesn't have social media. All he answers is texts and calls.
Yeah. And see,
I think he does have an Instagram.
he
Where
does, but he's
he's
barely on it. But every now and then he'll like something that I'll put up it's very seldom that it happens.
right, but here's the thing: I had to force him to get an Instagram. Like I remember, I think it was like 2 or 3 years ago.
Hmm.
Literally told him to make one because I think all he had was a Facebook. And even at our age, when we were, I think, juniors or seniors,
Hmm.
um, some of our assignments required getting on, online and talking to each other online, and communicating to do a project and whatnot.
Yeah.
So I literally told him I had to force him to make an Instagram, and to this day, he still only has, I think, the Instagram and I think Facebook.
I think he does have a Facebook. But
But if yeah,
saying that is like bringing up the fact that like some of our friends didn't have social media is interesting because of the fact that like in high school there were like more than just one that didn't actually have any social media, but now they have them, and you definitely can tell the difference between someone who's been on social media since high school and until and the people who waited until after high school to make one.
Yeah. There is a definite difference, man, and that's kind of an interesting topic within itself because it's like I guess you're exposed to less
Mm-hmm.
time. You're still watching TV, you're still watching movies, you're still maybe you're still hanging out with friends, but you just don't have social media. But it's good or bad, that's up for debate. A lot of people say good, a lot of people say bad. A lot of people don't think that a lot of people think that they should be exposed to that early on. A lot of people think that it's better if they're not.
Mm-hmm.
It really just depends on it kind of relates to like your political views even.
Yeah.
um it's always interesting to me, and I've thought about before like taking a break, like some people do.
Mm-hmm.
They'll take a break from social media for like a month or less than that. And a lot of people don't even last that long.
Yeah, no. I actually remember in high school I deactivated my Facebook for maybe like 3 months, and that was like the hardest thing I'd ever done. But that was because I was like being a teenager with just like emotions over stupid stuff at the time. Now I don't think
Yeah.
that like every teenager is just being emotional over stupid things, but I definitely was as I look back on it. Um, but yeah, no, it's just I don't know, and like that's the thing. Like it's almost like it's a drug.
Yeah,
Because
that's a good analogy. A drug.
yeah, because when people try and get away from it, like it's hard. Like you literally, whenever you have any downtime, what do? Go to social media, be it
Yeah.
Reddit, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat. You get on there just to waste a few minutes here and there. But then like when I think about stuff like that, I'm going back to the dangers of social media really quickly. Like back in high school, going back to high school too. Back in high school, all the things. The reason why I think that it should be that people don't have social media until they're old enough to like really understand what's going on and everything like that. Do you remember how many like people were like just sending around naked pictures of people?
I know. Yeah,
Like
yeah, yeah.
that actually happened. Like first of all, that's a felony. And people
Exactly.
they were just doing it.
It's a very gray like area, very gray area. It's not black and white with social media.
Yeah.
God, it's very interesting to me. Like, say if I were to take a break,
Mhm.
could last a day, which is sad. It makes me sad, dude, that I say that. But I do want to take a break, and maybe I'll force myself to, right?
Yeah.
But the thing is, I don't think I'll last very long, and I think maybe I'll do it as an experiment to see how long I do last. Maybe that way, I'll try to make it even farther than I do.
Yeah.
If say I had kids, I'm gonna be one of those people that doesn't put their pictures up. Like I'm not like that's just what I've decided from even from now. Because right now we're 23
Yeah.
in 2019. At this point, is a lot different than when it was, let's say, 5 or 6 years ago. So you imagine 5 or 6 years from now,
Yeah. Yeah.
it'll
um
be it'll be even different. It'll be a lot crazier even. It's something that's a little unpredictable for my taste. So I'm already dead set on being that person to not often, or maybe I'll upload a family picture every once in a while, but nothing too personal, nothing too intimate, nothing that can be used against you or shared without your consent.
well, see, with that being said, anything can be used against you. Like
Yeah,
it,
that's
it,
true.
it can literally just be a picture of you and your dad chilling. He has a cold one, and you're just like sitting there watching TV or some shit. Just something
Yeah,
simple. And
yeah,
someone just turn around and be like, haha, look at you, you look like a idiot sitting there, da da da.
yeah,
It's just stupid stuff. Like that's always what it is. It's always small petty things. But it's
Yeah,
those small petty things that add up over time, you know?
and I also said, um, from like kids from even down to age 10, even lower, maybe 8, 7,
Mm-hmm.
because saw my nephew, 7 years old, on TikTok.
Mm.
And I looked at my sister and I was like, "Do you think he should be on that?" Like legitimately, I was like, "Do you think he should be, on TikTok by himself?" And she didn't really pay no mind, but she's the type, I don't know, maybe she doesn't worry about it as much as I do, but I haven't really talked to her about it. But like, I remember one day I was coming home. I came home from work, and he was in our living room TV watching YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. He's watching gaming videos. He's 7 years old, by the way, 7. So he's watching gaming videos, and I'm like, and I look at my sister, and I'm like, there's a YouTube for kids app.
Mm-hmm.
Why don't you try checking that out? And then she was like, there's a YouTube for kids app? Like what? Like she had no idea. I'm like, yeah, yeah, yeah. There's all these things that you can try to make sure that he doesn't come across something that he shouldn't at that young, very young, tender age of 7.
Yeah.
Even some of the gaming videos he watches, if they start swearing on there, I'm like, yeah, no, turn it off. Sorry,
Yeah.
you can't be watching that. You're too young, yada yada yada. But that side, and then there's people like 55 plus, like my parents, right? So, well, I say my parents. It's more like my mom. My dad doesn't use social media at all.
Yeah.
He barely even texts. So, my mom though recently made an Instagram. She's had a Facebook forever.
Mm-hmm.
I'll say like 2 or 3 years. But she recently made an Instagram, and I asked her like, "Why'd you make an Instagram?" She's like, "Well, no, I just wanted to see pictures of the family over there, people, family that we have out of the country.
Yeah.
And it's a lot easier than having to send it over through a message that you just hop online and see the pictures or see what they're doing, what they're up to, making sure they're safe and okay." And that's literally the most, like, the safest, most innocent way of viewing social media. You know what I'm saying? But just try not to add anybody you don't know. Let me look at your settings, make sure you're not public, or stuff like that.
Yeah.
No problem. So it's funny to me that the spectrum, there's little kids at 10 and the older senior citizens at 55, 60 plus, who don't really have a clue as to what and everything that it's capable of. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like they don't really grasp the idea of it, and so don't kids. Kids don't really grasp the idea of it too. So I'm like a teeter-totter, man. I'm like a teeter-totter in between like my parents and these kids, because we also have I also have my other nephews who are now teenagers. They're like 13, 14.
Mm-hmm.
Like I get to witness what it's like to be a teenager right now. 2019. 2019. We're not talking about 2015, 2014. We're talking about 2019.
Yeah.
And some of the stuff that they let me know, because I have their confidence and everything. Some of the stuff that they let me know is going on, or what they view daily on their phones, because they do have phones and they have iPhones,
Yeah.
is not necessarily okay.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah. No. No. Definitely, I agree.
cool, and it's very hard to regulate. And I think, in my opinion, getting even harder to regulate.
Yeah.
Getting even harder to put rules and parameters in for kids, because I don't exactly know why, but I just, in my opinion, know that it's getting
Yeah. Like So really quickly, like I want to go back and cut to the whole YouTube thing, because YouTube itself is a complete gray area to me. I don't know what to classify it as. I don't know, what's going on all the time. Things are always changing. Like YouTube is the biggest gray area for me when it comes to anything that's online.
Yeah.
So YouTube obviously has a social aspect to it. You can talk amongst one another in the comments, you can do private messaging and stuff like that. So is it seen as a social media platform, or is it just a streaming platform, you know?
Yeah, I get you.
And so it, like, anything can happen on there. You can, you can upload videos and everything like that. So you never know what goes up on there. You never know if these videos are privated and sent to people. Like, it, if it never gets flagged for being wrong or anything like that, like, it's never gonna get taken down. To my understanding, I could be entirely wrong, Um, but I also want to go back and talk about the YouTube Kids app.
Oh, okay.
Because, so, okay, I know, like, it's been talked about for a while now. I don't know how much you know about it. I don't even know entirely too much about it, but the YouTube Kids app wasn't entirely too safe not too long ago, to be honest.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because there were people that had channels that were specifically targeting younger audiences. So, kids 10 and younger, stuff like that. But there
Yeah.
was really disturbing content in it.
Wow.
So they could be watching like a super friendly show, and then like what's that one thing, that Momo thing,
Oh, yeah.
the
I
chick with the
remember
really weird mouth and stuff, like that was showing up on like YouTube Kids and YouTube for a while now. And apparently, like, they would be like challenges and everything like that, telling them to kill themselves or hurt themselves or stuff like that. And it's
that.
like, whoa, that is not okay. This was on the YouTube Kids
Yeah.
app. So I'm like, how can I trust my kids to go on YouTube Kids if you can't even keep it for kids? So it's like, at that point, just might as well let my kids just go on YouTube, just be exposed to the entire world.
Right, right, right. And I think that comes into play like with YouTube as a company, dude. They've been in hot water so many times in the recent years.
Mm-hmm.
Controversial issues that have happened, but I think it's um partly, well, I think most of it is probably their fault.
I feel that, yeah.
I had no idea about the YouTube Kids app thing, but I don't. It doesn't surprise me, you know.
Yeah.
It doesn't surprise me at all because um, they've come up short on on a lot of other issues. You know, I've heard about like the whole PewDiePie situation
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of other touchy subjects, and um, they either lack paying attention to it or they pay too much attention to it and overdo it. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, and honestly, I believe what the problem was from the get go. I don't blame Google for buying YouTube. YouTube was definitely a fantastic investment for them. It's something that they needed or wanted, not really needed. It's
Right.
something that they wanted, and they went and got it. And I think that's fantastic on their part because it was it was a platform that was growing so fast at the time. But I think that was the problem. It was growing too fast, and Google didn't really know what they were putting their foot into.
Right,
So
right,
they
right.
just dived right in there, and now you have this company that's, well, now I believe YouTube is its own company now because it's like the umbrella thing, the umbrella corporation and stuff like that, or umbrella, whatever it's called. Um, and so now you have this thing that is literally putting out thousands upon maybe millions of videos a day. You know, seamless amounts of hours of content on a regular basis, and you never know what's being put out there. You never know. You can't really monitor it because who has that many employees to watch that much content before it gets uploaded? Their algorithms that they use to actually make sure that the videos are safe for view and stuff like that, they are always flawed to the point where it's like, oh well, our algorithm didn't pick this up. We're sorry. We're gonna do better next time. Well, you said that
Yeah,
last time, so what's gonna happen this time? And
yeah,
I think that was the biggest problem. They just weren't able to handle a platform that was growing as fast as it is, and it's still growing.
I know that's the scary part. It's not over.
Yeah.
It's not over. And like I said earlier, I don't think that they're getting better at it. I think they're getting worse at it.
Yeah, I agree.
That's why I took the I took that stance on it, with the whole pictures. And even if I was on YouTube and uploaded videos, I had to make sure everything was, cut and dry, not not really, I'm not revealing any locations or whatnot, trying to
Yeah,
be on the safe side.
yeah.
You have to nowadays, man. If I like, I remember, who did I just see on a video? I think it was Ashton Kutcher.
Mm-hmm.
He had an app in development. I don't know if it was him or one of his investment companies. They had an app in development that literally you bring the phone up to someone's face. It could be a stranger. It could be someone you know. So anybody.
Mm-hmm.
Scour the internet and tell you everything it can info wise on that person.
Yeah. See, I haven't heard about that, but that's kind
It's not
of
out. It's not out yet. It's still in development. I guess it's still a work in progress. But now in 2019, they can say that an app like that is in development. What can we say about, like, I guess the government? What kind of stuff are they playing with? What kind of toys do they have
yeah. And
coming up now? And someone's doing it someone's doing it as I guess as a way to make profit.
yeah, and honestly, it's terrifying to think about because like when that app is fully developed and can be used and everything like that, what are the limits on the information that's going to be put out there? What and also like what is it that you already have out there? What do you have out there that you don't even know that you have out there that's now going to be displayed on this app?
Right, exactly.
And how can this app be manipulated in a way where, oh, I don't even have to put this up to anybody's face anymore. I could just, you know, go into the system and, hack what I need to hack and get all the information that's been stored on there from like local devices that are on the same, like the same network as me. Like, say you go connect to someone else's Wi-Fi. I mean, this is already a thing. You go connect to someone else's Wi-Fi, and you can. I mean, all their information is accessible to you if you know how to get to it. And like
Right.
everyone just goes out. No one really has virtual private networks on their phones as we should, or like security on our phone as we should. And it's something that we should be protecting more than anything because this is something that we keep on our person at all the time, and we have all sorts of information on there. Like it's probably has more information on it than your personal computer would have.
Right. It
And
does.
yeah, and you're taking this out and you're connecting to public networks, things that are not at all protected, and you're just connecting to it, just giving all your information to everybody. Anybody that's connected to that public network will be able to gather your information if they want with no problem.
Yeah, it's kind of a scary thing. That's why I'm very firm on that stance that things aren't getting better; they're getting worse, and
Yeah,
depending on how the next few years go, they could get a lot worse.
yeah,
Um, an app like that could scan your face. I don't even know if it would be like, there's some apps that don't make it out of development because, let's say, um, the developers choose not to publish them, or maybe
mm-hmm.
they can't get they find out that they're in violation of a law, doing something. I don't think that app would make it out.
Yeah. But okay, so it may
Maybe it
not.
will in weeks, but then it will get taken down.
Yeah, but see, here's the thing: it may not be released to the public, but it could still be released to people who work in the government or work in the law enforcement, stuff
Yeah,
like that, and they would be able to use it. But at the same time, the thing, if people, if they decide not to let it be released, if people have a will, they will find a way to get that, that app. And even if the information isn't online where they can find it or anything like that, well, realistically, it is. If they can't find it online, what's to stop them from actually making it? I mean, there are some amazingly talented people out here who don't use it for the right reasons. You know, they're like
Yeah,
extremely intelligent and talented, and they go out here and make programs to harm people rather than help. You
yeah, yeah,
know,
yeah.
so
No,
it's
no, no.
like
You're
it's really terrifying because you never know what they can do with that.
correct. No, you're right. You're right. And it's something that I guess we're just gonna have to wait for it to play out, really. But um, for full circle and just straight up, just ask the question outright. Do you think it's hurt more than helped, or do you think it's helped more than hurt? Social media in general.
I think overall, like, you know, you're gonna have your give and your takes, but I think overall it hasn't been helpful. I mean, look at all everything that's going on now. You know, I don't think it's helping us at all. I think it's hurt society more than anything right now. But I don't necessarily believe that that's the end all be all. I believe that it possibly could get better, but just because I believe that it could get better doesn't mean that it is. You feel me?
Yeah, yeah. I think, and I have a very stance about it, but I I think that it could have it could have started off great, started off really rough, like the beginnings of it thing though, was a very, you know, rough, like kind of like if you're writing an essay and you write a rough draft,
Yeah.
you know, very touchy. People didn't really know what it was until it already was, and then by that time you couldn't stop it.
Yeah.
I look at things like, what if they knew what it was beforehand and they were able to regulate it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe things would be better. But when I put that all on paper, I'm basically talking about China.
China.
Is that way? They regulate everything, dude.
Everything.
They regulate the Facebooks. They don't even have Netflix, I don't think. Like it's kind of crazy, but I'd want to, like, and I'm gonna do more digging. Let's pay attention to stories coming out of China,
Yeah.
particularly with what's going on in Hong Kong, because that has to do something else, but more of like, what does it do to the population when you regulate social media and the internet in general over there?
Yeah.
Because it's a very very interesting study. But for now, on the fence. I'm like a 50-50 man. It's helped a lot. And maybe it's even helped other things in the process, to get better, to further along, get better technology even, you know.
Yeah.
Um hurt a lot, a lot. Like it's also hurt so much. Maybe I'll lean towards the help side just because of what it's done to help people come to the opinion, see that they have a lot of things in common with other people online when it comes to things like standing up for what's right.
Yeah.
For what's right and getting a story out to everyone, because to cause some change, right?
Yeah.
So towards the help side because of that and only that. But everything else, it could be give or take. It could have helped a lot more than it could have. In some situations, it hurt a lot of people.
Yeah. No, I feel that. I do. Um, I don't know. One thing, like, as a person that obviously lives in America, or as people who live in America, looking from the outside in, one thing I can tell you for sure, I don't know how I'd live without social media. As much as I would probably talk down on social media and all the how bad it is and everything like that, but you know, I also recognize there are good things about it as well. But I just don't know how I'd live without social media, streaming services, and everything like that. Like, there are places in the world where YouTube is banned, you know? Uh, like, I wouldn't be able to. I don't know. I'm just, like I said earlier, it's like a drug, you know?
Right, right, right. It is a drug. Has the same. It can give you even the same symptoms as a drug, even.
Yeah. So,
You wouldn't know what to do with yourself. You have to resort to to like, I don't know, reading a magazine or something, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's very touchy, and it's gonna be interesting to see what happens in the next few years.
No,
Maybe a few more laws will come into place. You know, maybe what's going on with companies like Disney, where they're buying up a lot of property
yeah,
and play as well. You know, it's all about consumerism. You know, it's all about money, really. It's all about money, trying to attract the most users as you can. If you're these companies, if you're these developers, you're trying to get more users than the next guy because then you have more pull.
yeah,
You want somebody wants to advertise something on your site, you can be like, well, look, I have more audience over here, you know. But like I said, things could change. Things could change for the better. Things could change for the worse. We'll just have to wait and see.
yeah. No, I completely agree. But honestly, when it comes down to it, what do I know?
what what the hell do we know?